recording now.
Am recording now. I hope my mic doesn't peak out this week. Ooh. We're hoping. Here's hoping.
The Powerpuff Girls had Professor Utonium, the X-Men had Xavier Academy, and Caroline and Eli had a poetry workshop. For Hey Nerds midseason extravaganza, the nerds take a walk down memory lane and reflect on their now semi-iconic friendship. Caroline's 100% of the duo's impulse control, Eli's a walking public safety hazard, and both are total nerds. Hello!
Hey!
Alright, 3, 2,
1.
Hey nerd! Well, we'll see.
It's not as bad as it has been. I think that we're getting better at not playing chicken, so
yeah,
that's fun.
Thanks for dabbing as I was reading the episode description, by the way. That was very helpful of you. That was a super fun thing to have going on.
Yes,
anyway.
I was doing my best to make you laugh. And
anyway, my name is Caroline and my pronouns are she, her, hers.
My name is Eli and my pronouns are they, them, theirs.
And this is Hey Nerd, which is a podcast where we purport to talk about nerdy things, but lately it's just kind of... Lately it's where I choked to death. I ate sun chips before this. This is a bad idea.
Lately is Caroline's funeral. We're holding a memorial service. RIP.
R.I.P. to me. Yeah, don't eat chips before recording a podcast episode. That's a health hazard. But yeah, this is an podcast where we normally purport to talk about nerdy things. Lately it's just kind of been whatever we vibe with. Because it is our podcast and we can do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah, I think we get a pass because we are nerds, and so like anything that we talk about is talked about through the lens of two nerds.
Yeah.
But we will eventually return to more stereotypically nerdy topics. Mm-hmm. We have a plan. We were going in with no plan, and then we realized that no plan was a bad plan. It was a plan, and it was a bad plan, and now we have a plan.
Who is this we, Kimasabi? I knew this was a bad idea from the start.
Okay, well, I knew that it was... I went in with no plan, and Caroline made the mistake of agreeing with me, and so, such is life, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So... It's just gonna make me, coughing intermittently. I fucking hate this. So yeah, this week we have a Brendan question, and the Brendan question is... for once, not super related to what we're talking about. It's just kind of a little vibe of a question. If you were an album, what would you be?
See, I should have thought about this more beforehand, but I didn't. I don't know. I think an album that comes to mind, is I'm gonna butcher this title. Here's hoping. Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, which is a My Chemical Romance album. And it's, of course it's a My Chemical Romance album, because I had an emo phase in middle school, and then I never escaped it. But it's, why I like this album specifically is because it's kind of framed as being, a post-apocalyptic radio broadcast, and it has a lot of, really, songs that go hard and are really well put together, but there's some very funny, just spoken interludes in it that I really vibe with, nice. And I think that I truly am the physical embodiment of the spoken interlude of a album of music, not really supposed to be there, but maybe adding something, so, that's where we're going.
Yeah. I would be Greenhouse by Louis Zong, which is a little mini album, because I was listening to that the other day as I was writing a cute little story, just kind of on my own time, and it was a good vibe, it was a good time. I don't know, I've been kind of getting away from edgier topics and kind of returning to my roots of just very chill, magic stories that are cute.
Is that the album that the, Soul Wind's theme, or the song you sent me about Soul... Okay. Different
no, that
album.
is Mort Garson's, Mother Earth's Plantasia, I believe, which is also a very good album, but it's not by Louis Zong, it is by Mort Garson, an absolute mad lad in the 1970s. Because it's music to help your plants grow, and also for the people who love plants. And I was like, that would be exactly right for my druid character.
Yes.
So yeah. Woohoo! Alright, what are our weekly anecdotes, my dude?
I don't know, this is kind of an update for you. I'm currently 15 pages into a screenplay that we started together. which is, maybe, if we ever get a website, maybe this will go up on the website, but it's like a parody of BuzzFeed Unsolved that I'm writing. I think I'm 15 pages in. I stopped writing for a couple days because I had to do chores and stuff, which is, you know, not great for time. But it's been fun. It's really fun to just write characters who are purposefully just being bastards to each other. Yeah. Oh, I've gotten to the first turn, which is good. It's always good when you start reaching the actual plot points instead of just 15 pages of exposition.
We love to see it. That's really cool. Let's see, what has my dog done recently? Oh yeah, so like I said, my family has a garage apartment that we normally just kind of like let people who need somewhere to stay rent-free for a minute, we let them stay there, but when it's not being used, we basically just kind of use it to put other shit that we don't know what to do with. And for recently, that shit has included me, 'cause I don't know what to do with myself. So I was like, kind of writing and working up there, and Hildy followed me up to the garage apartment, which is a big deal, because it got a lot of stairs, and really steep stairs, and my dog is 1 foot tall. Like, small. Legitimately, very small dog. And she went up there, and I was trying so hard to, like, get her to come sit with me, or, like, just kind of generally hang out, and she was just like, I'm gonna sniff around and see if there's anything I can eat up here. She did end up eating something that was crunchy, which is concerning to me, because I'm not sure. I don't know what she got into. She hasn't died yet.
That's good.
But yeah, I was betrayed by my dog, because she was like, I'm just gonna wander around and completely ignore you, like, entreating me to come and, like, sit with you on a bench. I'm like, you are fully capable of jumping up here. This is not a tall bench to sit on. Just please, just keep me company. And she's like, no, fuck you. And left. And, like, then I had to follow her down because I had to, like, open the door for her to get out since she wanted to leave. So, like, she made me complicit in her abandonment of me. It was awful!
You were completely whipped by your dog, Caroline.
Yeah.
So.
And then there was also, on a cuter note, I'm, like, trying to demonstrate interest in colleges and shit so that they'll take me. Hopefully. And, I, like, signed up for University of Houston's email address, since it would probably be useful to have a university close to home. And I was talking about this with my mom, and she was like, well, I kind of want to move to wherever you go to school, because we kind of predicated that on the idea that I would be going up north to, like, where it's not brutal and hot all the time, for college. And I was like, well, what if I end up, you know, going to U of H? And she was like, you can go to graduate school. I was like, excuse me?
To live a life where you are not determined to go to graduate school. I'm going to be in school till I'm 28, Caroline.
No, I figured I was gonna go to grad school too, I just didn't realize that it was gonna be a thing where my mom would follow me. I kind of figured,
Rip.
My mom's like, I want to move up north to wherever you are, and it's like, what if I do end up going to college up north, and then I go to a different grad school up north, and my mom was like, well, I'll move, and I was like,
So you're just always gonna live near your mom? Is that, like, the life to which you have
My mom's
been
always
doomed?
gonna live near me, let's not...
Okay, yeah, I guess you are kind of the controlling factor here.
I know. She's gonna follow me around the country, I guess, as I get my education. And,
nice.
like, not even to be a support network. She just wants to get out of Texas to get out of the heat. It's not even like, oh, I'm gonna be there to be... No, it's not an overprotective thing. It's not a supportive thing. She just wants to go.
Yeah, no. Meanwhile, I have the complete opposite. My dad's like, hey, given the opportunity, once you no longer live in this house, I would move to Italy. And I was like, cool, Dad, thanks. I guess that you're just gonna live on different continents. Have
you expressed interest in moving to Italy, or is this just
This is like my dad's dream life is living in Venice, I think. Somewhere in Italy, probably Venice, and just being in Italy. And that's his goal. He doesn't speak Italian. I don't know why there's, like, this fascination with Italy. But yeah, he's like, yeah, if I could live anywhere in the world, I would live in Italy. And I said, okay, Dad, that's good to know. I can't do anything about that, but I'm glad you have a dream.
Good luck with that. Oh my god. Yeah, that's great. I did not know that your dad was, like, an Italy stan.
Yeah. We have paintings that he made of Italy, like, in our house. It's
your
wild.
Dad paints?
He
Holy
painted.
shit.
He hasn't painted anything in like 20 years, but when he was in grad school, he painted. Yeah, next time you come over, I'll show you some of the paintings in our house that my dad did.
Oh, nice. Alright. Well, we're learning all sorts of new things about each other, which is good, because that leads us into our graceless segue into the episode topic, which is our friendship.
Oh,
yeah.
friendship.
Friendship! It's magic, y'all.
In the immortal words of My Little Pony.
In the immortal words of My Little Pony. I was not ever, into My Little Pony, but I did watch it when it came on, and I had friends who were into it, and they were like, alright, this was also during the homeschool co-op thing, which is the fake school that homeschool children go to socialize. So obviously there was a lot of My Little Pony fans, because, again, this was for children who didn't socialize a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently I was Princess Cadence, that was the character that people connected me the most with. Which wasn't bad from what I knew about the character. But yeah.
Yeah. I also never, maybe I got into, or maybe I was made to be into it when I was younger by, parents and stuff, but my most vivid memory is I had a friend whose little brother was into My Little Pony, and that was, that was my context for it, was this thing that my friend's little brother was into, and I would occasionally interact with at their house. But yeah, I know that one joke, and I know that a lot of people feel very strongly about the series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, anyway, back to how we became friends. Why we're doing this podcast, basically.
Yeah. This is the culmination of 3 years of friendship.
Yes. Going on 4, I think. Give or take.
Well, heading into the 4th year. 3 full years of friendship.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now that we've gotten that math figured out, so I guess we should start from the beginning.
From the very beginning. We met right before Harvey happened, which is, a completely wild thing. Yeah, because we had, the meet and greet with the seniors. We had, there was a meet and greet with the seniors, there was Artist Academy, and then Harvey happened, and our school year just kind of moved.
Yeah. I do not remember meeting you so much. I remember perceiving you, I think I was aware of your existence kind of tangentially. Yeah. I'm not sure if we ever, actually introduced ourselves to each other.
Yeah, I think I also don't remember, I know that you must have been there because we both remember being there. I don't remember you from that party. Okay, I guess to give context, we've kind of mentioned this, but, we are in the same program at our high school. We're both in the creative writing program. And every year up until they changed it, because I guess they changed it last year. I don't know. I was out of town. But every year, they, all the incoming freshmen and the sophomores would be invited to this, joint pool party thing to, get to know each other. Yeah. And so we both went to that our freshman year. We did not hang out. I think that I probably heard your name when we all, went around and did introductions. And that was it. Yeah. Yeah.
I think maybe you stuck out because I did not associate the name Eli with, the haircut you had back then.
It's okay, you can say it. I had long braids, and that was a dark, 10 years of my life.
10 years? Oh my god.
Yeah.
It was a rough decade. Yeah, and then we didn't really interact or talk until probably the start of freshman year, where we were in the same English class, which is a trend we have kept up through all 3 years of our friendship.
Yes.
We've always been in the same English class.
I'm really gunning for us to go 4 for 4 and be in the same AP Lit class next year.
I know. I'm so hopeful. I'm hopeful for it, but I also don't want to, put too much into
I don't want to be this needs to happen, but it would be so fun if it did happen.
Yeah, it'd be so fun.
Yes.
So
yeah, we were in the same English class. I think that would that have been the first, well, I guess we would have been together that first day of school, because all of creative writing was put together. But I don't really remember seeing you then either.
Yeah. So, this is just a lot of instances of us kind of being in the same area and then not interacting, which I guess could apply to our whole lives, because your dad works at the university I live a block away from, which is still something so wild to me.
Yeah.
So, again, it was kind of different circles, we were, on parallel paths of, very near each other, but never, really intersecting. And then, we got to poetry, I think, a few weeks into school. Maybe the first week of school. Yeah.
I think that we've got put in our workshops in, like, the third week of school. Because I think we got our first assignment for poetry the second week of school. And then the third week, we were put in workshops. And that's kind of the first time we interacted. Well, we probably interacted before that because we were in, like, creative writing together. But it was the first time it was, like, being forced into a small space with 2 people instead of, like, 18 people or 30 people.
Yeah. And I told this story before, but I'm gonna tell it again to the internet. When, like... yeah, so when, you know, our poetry teacher was going around assigning workshop groups, and then she said your name, I immediately went, oh shit. Because my context for Eli, we weren't just in the same English class at that point. We were also, I think, in math class. We were in every single class together, but, I think we shared every class but language, because you had your Spanish 1 at the same time as I had French 2. And for, like, context, Eli, I think, in creative writing, you'd already, like, quoted something about philosophy, and I was like, shit, this kid is...
I mean, I came in the first day, and I said my favorite book was V for Vendetta, which is, like, a really intense book. And my summer plans, or the thing I'd done over the summer, was take a 3-week philosophy course, in which I became an absurdist and, like, had a profound spiritual change. So I was a very intense person, I think. Yeah. It was, like, just very, like, just this kid with braids, just, like, in, like, dark hoodie, just kind of, like, looking intense. And I was like, shit, this kid is way too, like, cool and smart for me. And it says a lot about our school, I think, that, like, you were intimidating to other people instead of, like, immediately shoved into a locker. Like, everyone's like, oh shit, this kid is, like, instead of, like, wow. Yeah, I think another thing to know about me is that I wear glasses, and right now I'm wearing a Star Wars t-shirt, and if it was the 80s, I would be viciously bullied, but instead, I was physically intimidating to some people and mentally intimidating to others, and that's wild. Yeah, so I was just, like, kind of going in, like, this kid's definitely gonna be better at poetry than I am. And I was right. Just because, like, it's a different proficiency thing. It's a different proficiency. But yeah, our first real interaction was talking about feelings in poetry for an hour and a half. Yep. And it's a hell of an introduction. Yeah, I think also, I just remember the first poem you ever read from me was about the time I split my head open and had to go to the emergency room, which is like it wasn't a good poem, but it's intense thing to read about. I do remember very early on, as you were immediately intimidated by me as a poet, I was immediately intimidated by you as a storyteller, because, like, our second week, we had to write these poems, and Caroline wrote this poem about life and death, which was, like, this beautiful love story between the two of them, and I was like, this person, too big brain, makes actual narratives, is trying to make a point with their poetry. I write things, and they're just sad, and now I have to deal with the fact that someone thinks about what they're doing. And it was very cool, because we hadn't really gotten to shine in fiction, but I think, like, I knew right then, I was like, oh, she's gonna be a fiction writer, she's gonna be really good at fiction writing, and I just am also here. Yeah, that poem about life and death, like, I think I've created whole mythos that are partially based off that poem accidentally, and I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, this whole like, the way I perceive life and death is fully based off of things that Caroline has written, which is wild. Holy shit, I never knew that! That's so cool. Aw, that's really sweet. So yeah, you know, very intense, kind of talking about feelings and shit, and creative writing in general, I think. Our class was just, like, the one that immediately bonded very quickly. Yeah. We pack bonded. It was wild. We pack bonded very quickly. So it was just, like, a lot of, I think, many, many intense discussions about feelings, both just in small groups and big groups and all the groups. Among all this, Eli never fucking came out to me as non-binary until, November. Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds like it was exactly what I did. I will say, I don't have a defense for this. I do kind of have an explanation. I had been very closeted all of middle school. Yeah. Because, you know, middle school is middle school. Middle school is middle school. I had a not great coming out experience that I will probably get into in, like, if we talk about queer stuff. And it's something where it's like, it's not the person's fault, it's just, she said a thing that immediately invalidated me, and it was, like, just a bad time for both of us. But then the only social interaction I had with people over the summer, I was out to, and so then just riding that wave of being out to people over the summer, I forgot that I was not, like, an androgynous presenting person at the beginning of the school year, and I just was like, yeah, people know, my name is Eli, and that's kind of the context that I gave everyone. And then it was only later that I was like, oh, there wasn't that understanding, right? Yeah, partially because, I think the other thing is, I was friends, not to, like, diss creative writing, I was friends with a lot of trans people over the summer, and so, like, trans people kind of have a better intuition for picking up, like, other trans people, whereas in creative writing, it was like, oh, yeah, it's just a bunch of people who, you know, don't have that same, like, hyper-awareness of things, and so, yeah, I forgot to come out. Vibes. Yeah. It happens.
I felt really bad about it, but it's fine now. I think we've made up for it in the interim. Yeah, so it's just like, you really can't bank on me knowing because of a name, because I'm like, yeah, sure, that's just an interesting name for the name. Yep,
Yep.
Like, especially freshman year me, because my main context for non-binary people was, like, one specific, character who does present very androgynously, on the web series Carmilla, because LaFontaine was, I think, my first exposure to, like, non-binary people as, like, people instead of just, like, conceptually. So yeah, I was not, the woke person then that I am now. Now I know all the things, because I'm 17 years old.
Ooh.
And I'm a genius. So yeah. So, like, there's all that going on. Yeah. That was happening. And then I think, as we mentioned, I'm trying to do the math. It wasn't last episode. Because last episode we didn't talk about anything except Troll 2. Was it episode 4?
Was it the episode before, or was it an episode that is not to be released yet?
I hate scheduling things sometimes.
Yeah, I think we'll come clean here and say we had to pre-record an episode, so if we ever mess up and say, like, something happened and you're like, no, that didn't happen yet, we're sorry. This is a very confusing podcast to keep tracks of. Tracks of? Tracks of. You know, I'm gonna stay on tracks.
Okay. You do that, buddy. And now I'm completely forgotten what I was going to say. Fuck. Oh, wait, yeah. We didn't, I think, Oh, it was in the Lord of the Rings episode, I think.
Oh, okay.
So it has been released. So, yeah, we didn't, like, get to be big close friends until later, but, like, freshman year was definitely kind of the opening point for, like, I think a lot of things of just setting up, like, here's just complete emotional vulnerability, in the form of a poem. Here's my feelings that I put down on paper.
Yes.
And, like, our kind of attempts at translating how we were feeling. And then somehow later on, we just kind of kept that going and just actually made a friendship out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another thing that's kind of, like, or a thing that helped is that our class started organizing these things called Friday Night Rights, where we would, like, not all, but we would get together on Fridays, and I think almost everyone came to one, as they were available, to do. So it would, like, we would, even though I don't think we were hanging out a lot in school outside of creative writing, we would also spend time, like, outside of school, not just specifically the two of us, but, like, as creative writing as a whole, but, you know, it's hard not to gravitate towards a person where you're like, you know, my feelings and the weird things that happen inside my brain and the way I write and all that. And so that definitely, I think, helped contribute to, like, that early seed of friendship, was the fact that we as a class were all hanging out outside of school and doing things and watching films and stuff.
Yeah. And I think eventually, either, like, tail end of freshman year or, like, beginning of sophomore year was when we really started to become, like, better friends. It must have been tail end of freshman year because we, along with our friend Mariah, started LGBT literature club at our school, or agreed to, end of freshman year, started it sophomore year, and we've kept that up for a while.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's also just, like, this other element of we've collaborated on shit before, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think I just remember one of the things where I'm like, this is like a marker of friendship, was that the summer between freshman and sophomore year, I needed, not on short notice, but I needed a place to stay for a night. Like, speaking of Caroline's garage apartment, I needed a place to stay for a night because of family medical stuff that, you know, stays in its box over there. But yeah, the person who it was reached out to wasn't like, the question of like who I would want to stay with between a family friend or someone from school, was answered by Caroline offering up this like spot that I could stay for a night, which was, so yeah, it was staying over at your house and then like just hanging out and, yeah, that was when you introduced me to John Mulaney. That was kind of the start of us sharing media back and forth, I think, of like, hey, here's a thing that exists. Here you go.
Here you go.
Peruse it as you will.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's probably another instance of that happening. Shit. I'm trying to think of, like, had a thought left. Oh no. Oh god.
Well then, last year there was, like, that sleepover at your house where there were 5 of us?
Question mark? I tried to invite as many people as I could reasonably fit.
Yes. We're gonna do 5 asterisk and, you know, maybe.
But yeah, that was like over spring break, so I was like, I haven't had a sleepover in a while, and I haven't had one with like my school friends. Might as well do that. Why did we stop doing that? And then, yeah, it was a fun time. So that all happened. Also, I remembered what I was gonna say. You have been in my car, I think, a bunch of times, probably more than any other friend at school.
Yep.
That's not a diss or anything, you just, we've given you rides before, and that's also a thing that I think contributed.
Yes, it was, we have to stay after school occasionally for creative writing and for other things, and my dad works nights sometimes, or he'll have work at night. He doesn't work nights. He's a professor, sometimes he has to teach night classes. We're gonna explain that. And so that would conflict with me being able to get home, because, because my dad is my, like, ride to and from places, and so I just kept asking Caroline, like, hey, can I bum a ride off of you to my house or to my dad's office? Which further cemented our friendship, because it's like, yeah, this is someone who is willing to go out of her way to help me. Yeah. And
you live like 10 minutes from my house. It's not...
Yeah, it's not far. It's is on the other side of the bayou, and you have to go past your house and then come back from both of our school campusi. Campi? Maybe.
Whatever. But yeah, there was that going on, so it was just kind of like, I think just a bunch of little things eventually built up, and we just kind of developed this, dynamic that you not see before you, but you hear before you today.
Yes. I do remember another thing that contributed to it, and this wasn't just our friendship, but it was a friendship between us, Ellis, Mariah, and Rosalind, and there was some project we were doing in creative writing or something where we were all up in the library, and the 5 of us just...
Shit, did I forget someone we knew in freshman year? Fuck.
Who, wasn't that... No, that wasn't her name. What was her name? Rosalind was a friend from middle school. Who was the person who was in our class freshman year and then left?
Esmeralda?
Esmeralda, okay, sorry. Completely different person. Rosalind was a friend I had in middle school, who will never listen to this. But Esmeralda, it was the 5 of us, and we just went around and, like, shared our individual, like, relationship and we each shared, like, our relationship trauma.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was weird. I don't even remember what the project was. I just remember each person was like, yeah, here's the weird, messed up things I've experienced in relationships, or, like, the weird places relationships have left me. And so that was not fun, I guess, but it was something where being in the vein of being emotionally vulnerable with people.
Yeah. And I think, like, part of why our friendship is the way that it is, I think was in part kind of, like, contributed to because I could kind of see both of us getting put in boxes. I think it was easier for me to see you get putting in box of smart one, and, like, the pressure that came with that, and I was like, well, that's fucking stupid, so we're not gonna do that. So I was like, basically the reason I made fun of Eli, at least in the beginning, was in part to just be like, let's fucking kick this stereotype of, like, you being some kind of fucking, like, let's bring this person down to earth and off this fucking pedestal, because pedestals suck. And in a way that
Pedestals
also
do
got
suck.
me out of my box of being the nice one. And now this friendship is a space where we can just be two bitchy idiots. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it is true that, if no one else, I know that I can be a chaotic bastard around Caroline, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it is always very funny to me, I think, when, someone's like, oh yeah, Caroline's a nice one, and I'm like, it's nice that you think that, and I agree that she is a nice person, but also, this is the person who yells at me every time I cross the street wrong, so, you know.
Because you do it a lot, and I don't want you to get run over, you idiot.
Like that, see, this is how, here's the perfect example of how it goes. Yeah, I think that it is fun when you have someone in your life who is like, hey you, stop it. Stop that thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
that's nice.
Yeah, just kind of, like, getting out of that label, because I can, like, again, I've been put in the box of the nice one, and that puts a certain pressure, at least on me, and I was like, I don't want this to happen to another person, especially since, like, we already, at that point, I think, kind of knew a lot about each other, like, more than most base-level friends do. So I was just like, well, we're not gonna do that, and, like, in a weird way, kind of objectify this person through their intelligence, and instead I'm just gonna be like, no, you're kind of fucking stupid sometimes, actually. And, like, I still love you for it, but, like, you are not fucking imperfect, or you're not, like, a perfect genius. You are a human being just like the rest of us. So
I have high intelligence, low wisdom.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, it is nice, and I think that is something that, I don't know, anytime you get a label put on you, it's like, oh, well, now I have to perform to this label, and so I think the ability to have at least one person who's like, yeah, that's true, but also, it's the complexity of acknowledging something, because I think for you, it's like, yeah, I know that Caroline's a very nice person, in general, and is, like, a good person, but it's also when you develop a certain friendship, everything becomes, like, multifaceted, you know?
Yeah.
My language has completely devolved into nothingness, but I think that the more that you see someone else as multifaceted, the more you are able to, like, not feel the urge or not put them into that box to, like, make it easier to connect with people, because I think that's ultimately why you put people in boxes, is because then it's, like, easier to connect with whatever the idea you have of them is. But that's not healthy.
Yes. Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, your understanding of a person gets more complex as you understand their complexities more. Yeah. And, like, that is true, I think. And just kind of, like, getting to know people on a deeper level is just always fun and always kind of interesting. I think, like, this is the first, like, high school is really when that started happening for me, because before I had good friendships, but they were all kind of, like, relatively surface level, or I didn't really hang out with people outside of school. Because, like, I was friendly with people, it just never came up. And then with creative writing, it was, again, like, Friday night writes, and we had all these opportunities to socialize, and, like, I was in a space where I felt that I could be, like, a little more open, a little more vulnerable. Third week of school, I think everyone in our program, in our class, like, ended up crying because we were talking about, like, losses we'd experienced, and it was like, oh, shit, like, I would not have done that in middle school at all. No.
Yeah.
That would have been horrible. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing, I guess especially about our high school, because I don't know if all high schools experience it, is that by its very nature, our program forces us to reveal ourselves to be complicated human beings. Because I think in middle school, I just kept my mouth shut about a lot of stuff, and I was like, you just have to get through this. But being in high school forces you to be like, yeah, I'm a person. Yeah.
It's the formation of identity and whatnot that you have to do. And figuring out, like, what do I want as a person, and what do I value, and, like, how do I want to relate to other people.
And I think with that, it comes the capacity to have better friendships, because you're not interacting with each other as, like, you're not interacting with the images of each other, especially in creative writing. You're interacting with, like, the realities of each other and the realities of, like, what this person has gone. Even if I don't think we know everything about each other, I don't think that any person in creative writing has really unpacked their whole lives for someone else. But it's like you're interacting with someone knowing, like, some of their trauma, some of their history, some of the things that have, like, contributed to them both positively and negatively, which makes for, like, a lot stronger friendships because you're holding a lot more of everyone else inside you.
Yeah. And I will say that, like, that can definitely, get to a point where it does feel really heavy. I think I can safely say that we've both kind of been that person who's, like, carrying a lot of shit from other people, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes it feels like you don't have anywhere to put all of those, like, weights down. And so something that I've kind of had to learn to be kind of a better friend to myself and to other people is to, like, learn when to set boundaries and, like, when to take time for myself and when to not just be, like, the self-sacrificing nice one all the time. And just kind of learn, like, oh, I can be assertive in friendships and, like, ask for what I need. And that doesn't make me a bad person. Whoa!
Shocking.
Yeah. So it is also just, like, learning how to be a friend and kind of fighting my way out of that box as I, you know, both become more complex and understand other people's complexities, which is very interesting.
Yes.
So yeah. It's tough being the person that people go to sometimes. Like, I've been a substitute therapist for too many people. Yeah. It's not a fun position to be in, especially since I'm just a teenage idiot like everyone else. And then, like, that's the thing. I'm like, here's some advice, but don't fucking, like, quote me on it. Jesus Lord. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm not an expert in any- I'm 17, I don't know shit! Like, I don't know anything about anything!
You think I know things?
No, bold of you to assume I can think. But yeah, like, and with our friendship, I feel like there's a lot more room to kind of set those boundaries and, like, have it be a safe place to kind of be like, I need X, Y, and Z, because there isn't a fear of rejection or, like, that's fucking stupid, which, like, we have said to each other, but not about, like, serious things. When we need to be serious, we can be serious.
The only time that we say, like, that's, I would say we're mean to each other in the context of knowing that, like, what we're being mean about is not something that's gonna hurt the other person. Yeah. Like, Caroline yelling at me about me unsafely crossing streets, that's not an integral part of my character, that's not something I pride myself on, that's just a thing I do, that is dumb, and I acknowledge that it's dumb, and it almost got me killed one time with Caroline watching, which was a fun experience. But it's never about things where it's like, this is a serious thing that I need to get empathy over, you know?
Yeah. Because I think something that people, especially at school, have seen of our friendship is mainly just, like, us kind of being bitchy to each other and making fun of each other. And it's very interesting because I think, like, it's like that one Tumblr post about two people's different approaches to, like, cats, which is, one of them is, like, precious boy, little baby, sweet child, and then the other one's just, like, picking up the cat, like, under the shoulders and just swinging it around and being like, stinky bastard man. And, like, people see me being the first way with, like, a lot of other people, and then being the second way completely and totally with Eli, and they're like, why are you bullying this kid? And I'm like, like, on paper, does not look like we like each other a whole bunch, but, like, in a lot of our interactions. So people are always kind of surprised when I'm like, we actually do check in about this.
Yes.
Like, if I ever feel like, okay, we were maybe, like, 80% teasing and, like, 20% decent interactions, so maybe we should scale that back. I'm always careful to be like, are you good? Which I think is also just a thing that people should do in friendships, is just, like, check in and see how the other person's doing, kind of genuinely, and, like, take a time out from joking all the time, especially if it's a very sarcastic friendship, because you do gotta have some sincerity, because otherwise I think it will start kind of eating away at people.
And I think also it's, like, as much as I think the other thing is that we are very sarcastic to each other in person, and then have we have genuine conversations in person, but I think a lot of people who only see kind of the sarcastic, chaotic part of our friendship, they're, like, of course they're not privy to the text chain that we have between ourselves, or to the long conversations, not long, but the conversations that we had about, like, projects that we're working on together, and all of this, like, very generative, healthy friendship that takes place maybe kind of not in front of other people, which I think is an interesting thing about friendship, is that so much of it happens purely between two people that, like, from the outside looking in, you can't ever really understand what someone's friendship is like, which is, it's just, like, an interesting thing. And another friendship that's a good example of this is Anissa and my friendship, which from the outside really looks like we're just arch nemesis. I'm gonna keep messing up plurals today, so, we're gonna roll with it.
No, you know what? Go ahead and roll with it, my man.
But yeah, like, Anissa and I, for all that we seem very, like, two people butting heads constantly, it's all done with the undertone of friendship and, like, the knowledge that none of it is real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I think, like, being bastardous in public, like, there is always an element of it that is performative. Because, like, part of it is, like, if we're around other people and I start teasing you, part of it is to just see how far we can get to get a reaction from other people. Like, I want to make people laugh. I want validation. I want attention, is kind of my thing. Or to make you laugh, or make you react. Like, there's always something, like, there is an element of just trying to get a reaction from people when we're doing that, and then when the audience is gone, it's a lot easier to be more genuine and heartfelt, because it is weird to have, like, deep, meaningful conversations when you're, like, standing at a traffic light with, like, 8 other people.
Yeah. I think it's also, like, a lot of our interactions are kind of just improv games where are consistently trying to, like, not one up, but build up on things.
Yeah.
Which means that, like, if something starts off sarcastic, it just gets progressively more sarcastic.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's that same, like, wanting to make someone else laugh, or just wanting to make each other laugh, but we're continuously heightening, in the knowledge that, like, this started off safe, and, like, if it ever becomes not safe, one of us can just be like, I don't want to be in this conversation anymore.
Yeah.
Which is good. I think a big part of being able to have a friendship that is a little bit more, not antagonistic, but a little bit more, like, push and pull, is, being able to safely, like, I guess safely is the wrong word, but being able to, like, pull back and, like, get out of something that makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah, being able to, like, kind of check out and, and I think that's true. Like, especially just the improv game bit, because it's, like, getting a reaction, then also trying to get in the last word. I have a brother, and I do, like, the same thing, like, at the dinner table, if I am insulting my brother, it is 100% just to see if one of my parents will go, ooh! Which has happened. Not that exact noise, but it's just kind of, like, getting my parents to be like, you got his ass!
I really can't imagine your dad making that noise, I'm gonna be honest.
My mom, I think, has made a similar noise of just, like, like, you fucking got him.
You did it, kid.
Yeah, just getting parental approval, for roasting my brother viciously. Yeah, like, being that kind of performative. I have no clue how the fuck you got that good at it. I've had nigh on 2 decades of practice with my brother. Y'all are kind of similar in that way.
Yeah, I don't know, I think that it's, well, I've talked about the fact that I think joking and sarcasm is kind of something that I developed early on as a defense mechanism, which is, like, not healthy, but something that happened. And then I had a lot of experiences growing up with, like, not siblings, but people with whom I was supposed to eventually share a sibling bond. And so it's, like, the getting closer to people by, like, lightly ribbing them. Because if you can lightly rib someone, that gives you, like, a sense of comfort and a sense of closeness. And so I think I got good at it because I had to do that with, like, 7 or 8 different sets of people.
Holy shit.
Not 7 or 8, but a good number of different sets of people that I had to, like, build that same sort of relationship with, which I think is why, I have kind of a chameleonic sense of humor, because I'm used to, like, adapting my sense of humor to fit in and form those, like, close ties with people, which is why my 7th grade science teacher liked me so much, because I was the only person who could make my sense of humor fit his. That was it. That's, like, a thing that happened.
Wasn't that the science teacher with the nickname thing? Or was that a different science teacher?
Are you talking about Dr. Cox?
I don't know. There was this one, like, you either called him by his first name or there was just a nickname for him.
That was my 8th grade U.S. history teacher. Who wouldn't let us call him Mr. Doke and made us call him Doke because his brother's dog's name was Mr. And so he said, Mr. Doke is my brother's dog. And so we had to call him Doke. And I was like, cool, dude. You're a very weird person.
It sounds like it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he was cool. His was the room where I split my head open, actually.
Oh, that's probably where I learned that from then, yeah.
Yeah, whenever I have to recount that story. Not have to, whenever I recount that story.
Yeah. I think we also swapped head splitting open stories, though I think mine is far less dramatic. Apparently it happened twice to me, though. I only knew about the one time.
Wait, what?
Okay, so you know the first... So I think I've told the story of, like, when I was, like, 2, maybe. I fell out of bed, and I don't know how the fuck my parents thought it was a good idea. I don't know how tall the bed was, or if it was the bed I have currently, but I landed on my chin, and I cracked my chin open. And it was a bad time, and just kind of in general. And my parents told me the story, like, yeah, that's why you have, like, you know, stitches and a scar on your chin, because you cracked your head open, and we had to take you to the hospital. And you didn't cry the whole way there. And I was like, that's interesting. This is also, like, around the age that I fucking clocked my brother with a kid's stool, and gave him a black eye, so, like, toddler me was very fucking cool.
High adrenaline.
That back. I just fucking beamed him. I don't even know why. Anyway, so I was like, cool. So, like, my head split open, and that was just, like, a thing I knew about myself, and I still have, like, a little dent on my chin from when that happened. And then I was, you know, over Thanksgiving break this past year, I was just kind of talking about it. And my dad was like, oh yeah, you did do that twice. And I was like, I did that how many times? Say that again, sir? Turns out, I did in fact manage to, I guess, re-split the same thing, like, before it had fully healed, maybe? And that time my parents, the reason I didn't learn about it was because my parents didn't take me to the hospital that time. My mom just
no wonder you split it open again.
My parents just, like, fucking stuck some Sealy strips on there and called it a day.
Yeah, no wonder it happened twice. It sounds like it didn't really heal properly the first time. Oh, that's like that one, what was it? I don't even know where it comes from, but it's the, if I had a quarter for every time I split my chin open in the exact same place, I would have 2 quarters, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the worst fucking thing. Typically, that kind of thing happens, like, with siblings who are different ages. Like, with most families, like, the first story would have happened with the oldest child, and then the second story would have happened with the youngest child. It just happened twice on the same child. Like, my dad is the oldest of 3, and he was like, yeah, when my parents said that when I dropped, like, my, like, baby bottle when I was a kid, they would, like, sterilize it and then give it back to me. When my younger sister dropped it, they would rinse it off and give it back to her. When my little brother, dropped the baby bottle out of his crib, they just gave it back to him. But the way he phrased it kind of made it sound like his youngest brother had, like, thrown the bottle out, and that his parents had thrown it back. Which is very funny.
Yoink!
You want to practice your throwing arm so good you can catch!
Like, you sounded so southern.
I know.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that is my dad's side of the family. They're from Alabama.
Nice.
Yeah, well, from Oklahoma, but my grandfather hailed from Alabama. So yeah, that was just kind of a thing that I learned about myself. And I was concerned. I asked my mom, like, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, you never asked. And I was like, yeah.
How would I ask about something I don't
You're fine now. I was like, it is a big deal. This happened one more time than I thought it did.
This happened 100% as many times as I thought. Or no, 200% as many times.
Yeah.
100% like, more.
Yeah, like, what the hell? So yeah, which does explain, like, a certain baby picture that I had. Because apparently, I'd always thought she was telling the same story. Like, I'd always thought that a family friend was staying there the first time, and, like, just was there, and that's why there was a picture of him and my brother and me, like, after I'd, you know, gone to the hospital and, like, had little Sealy strips on my face. Apparently he was around the second time. And he was very wigged out about it, because he was, like, this 20-something-year-old dude, and he was like, this toddler just broke her face. Like, what the fuck? And head wounds bleed a lot. Like,
yeah, I know.
So it's like, especially, even if it's the wound isn't that deep, they're just,
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the fun thing I learned about myself, that you now know, and now the internet knows. I will say my parents are both responsible people. They weren't, like, this isn't a case of negligence or whatever. I think they were just like, we don't want to deal with that hospital bill again. Like, we know how to fix this.
Oh, that's very funny. No, my funny coincidence story is that my dad and I have both split open our foreheads in, when we were in school, in a classroom, through the fault of someone else. Because my dad, he split open his, like, eyebrow kind of on the same side because someone pulled out their chair in front of him and he tripped and hit the corner of a desk and split his eyebrow. And then I split open my forehead because I was trying to leave a classroom and another student full sprinting out of the room, hit me in the back, sent me slamming into, like, an exposed corner. And, ouch. But I do know why it's not a straight line scar. It's because I had, like, the curved corners on those rooms, which means that it was, like, blunt force, and then that split my forehead. And it was a deep wound, which was fun. Something that, yeah. Yeah, everyone was more freaked out than I was. I was like, yeah, I mean, I was on an adrenaline high and I couldn't tell what was really I could tell what was going on. But I was on an adrenaline high and everyone around me was like, oh my god, you might be concussed, you're bleeding a lot. And I was just sort of vibing. I was there. Yeah, I was like, yeah, this is a day. I'm gonna go to the hospital? Cool. So, you know. But then Doak called my house later that day, and he was, like, very concerned for me, which was kind of nice. I appreciated that.
Shout out to Doak.
Shout out, Doak. You were a cool teacher. Yeah. Overall. Out of all my 8th grade teachers, you were one of the coolest.
Is there someone in the running for cooler, or you just gonna leave it at that?
Let me think for a moment. I have to remember all my 8th grade teachers, so...
My 8th grade art teacher could do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is pretty kick-ass.
Ooh, well, is there more to that story, or is it just, like...
No, I just knew that he could do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because he was, like, talking about it during class one day. He also, like, there was a thing where there was a punishment system of, like, 3 strikes, and you can't do, like, 8th grade graduation stuff. And this kid in our art class, Wyatt Tittle, who was absolutely fucking insufferable, like, he and his crew of 8th grade boys kept making sex noises during class, and it was making all the other girls really uncomfortable, myself included, and the girls just chose me to be, like, the person to be, like, like, trying to, you know, describe this in a way to, like, get this boy to stop, and also get across what the problem was, and I think the way I phrased it was, he's making noises that he's never gonna hear in real life, and then he got fucking detention for it. Nice! Getting in trouble for it. And I saw the slip later because he was also my GSG teacher, which meant that I saw him, like, before and after school every day. And I saw the slip, and it was like, yeah, he was making sex noises during class, so he did get exactly what I was going for. So yeah, and, like, I ended up getting, like, the boys, like, tried chanting snitch at me, like, after, like, when I went back to my desk, and I was like, do I give a shit, though? Like, you want detention? Like, I'll do it!
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. I don't know, a similar story that I had to that is that we had, in 7th grade, I think, not under our 8th, we had a different art teacher, 6th and 7th grade, she left, she retired, and then we had a new art teacher 8th grade, but it must have been in 7th grade. One of the boys with whom I was friends made, like, we had the curvable wire that you could make shapes and statues out of.
Yeah.
So he made a penis.
Yeah, of course he did.
As you do. Because you're a middle school boy. And no one had a problem with it. Everyone was just like, yeah, this might as well happen. And then the principal walked in.
Oh no!
On just, like, a general inspection. And that was the reason why he got in trouble. Yeah. Oops. I mean, I've told stories about my 7th grade art class, which was, like, not a whole lot of crazy things happened, but, like, 3 crazy things happened, and that was, like, the high point of the year. But yeah, just, you know, I was out the day that this happened, so I didn't even get to see it happen. I had to hear it secondhand. But yeah, someone made I don't know how realistic it was, but someone just made a dick and, like, got in trouble for it. And yeah. No one saw an issue with it except for the principal, which I found very funny.
Yeah.
Like, my whole class just didn't care.
Yeah. I think at some point in my 7th grade art class, some boys, because we had 3 different art teachers, and so I was the one that was, like, typically 6th graders, but also took 7th graders, and I think at some point the boys in our art class just, like, got a bunch of, like, a bag of Cheetos or something in a tree that was, like, directly outside our 2nd floor, classroom, and they kept trying to, like, lean out and get it back, and they couldn't, so yeah, that was just there for the squirrels.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've gotten wildly off topic and just into middle school. Yep. But yeah, middle school, man.
Middle school, bro.
Maybe we'll have another episode that's just middle school stories.
Maybe. I don't think I have that many.
Yeah. We would have to, I think we could probably petition our friends for middle school stories. That'd be funny.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Cool friendship. 8th grade art teachers. We got off track. Or cool 8th grade teachers that you had that might outclass Doak.
Oh, there was just the technology teacher at our school. I don't remember if he was particularly cool, but he introduced me to tabletop role-playing games. Ooh. Not in 8th grade, in 7th grade, because I was in a class with, like, 5 7th graders and a bunch of 8th graders, and the 8th graders were all out one day doing something. And so instead of learning anything in technology, we just played, like, a tabletop role-playing game. Not an official one, just one that he'd made up, and we were all just kind of vibing with.
Nice.
So yeah, that was, like, he gets cool points in my book, because now I play and listen and watch a lot of tabletop role-playing games, so I guess that was probably semi-fundamental to my existence as a person.
Yeah, shout out to that teacher.
Shout out to Mr. Augustin, wherever you are. I don't know if you still work there. I haven't been back to my middle school since I graduated.
Yeah, I feel like I've been back to my middle school once to do something. Maybe.
We went there, you went there, you didn't go inside, but you went there, like, physically outside was that when you're, for Eva's thing.
Well, no, I've also been inside since then, I think, to drop something off, maybe. But yeah.
Was it when you were taking that China trip?
Yeah, that's what it was. Probably. Who knows?
Who knows?
But yeah, middle school, what a weird freaking time.
What a weird time. A time before our friendship. The exposition, what is it? The...
Backdrop?
Backdrop? No, but it's
Backstory.
like those terms Miss Rolliter used, where it was like the immediate past and then like the far past. I don't remember what her terms were.
Considering that I took advanced fiction this year, I probably should know. Oh no. Well
yeah, whatever.
Something. It's
the things, there's like the immediate history and then the far history. It's the far history.
Yeah, that's the far history. That's eons ago.
Ages and ages.
Ages and ages. So yeah, I don't know. Do we have any other funny anecdotes from our friendship? Or
well, I'm sure we could think of some. It's hard to parse things individually. This isn't like our specific friendship, but when we went to... So, we've been in the same room for 2 years now at Austin?
Yes.
At Austin. You know, that's when we go to the Texas Book Festival in Austin. But this most recent year, us, along with our good friends, Shelby and Eva, in the middle of a kind of dramatic book fest, just kind of made mug cakes and watched a terrible show together. Or watched the first half of, like, one episode and then gave up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also put a bed in the bathtub in the hotel room. That was, I think, me and Eva. Or was that you and me?
I think, no, it was it you and Eva because Shelby and I were, like, off handling something? Probably. Yeah, like, Shelby and I had to go, I think, we either went downstairs to, like, talk to the seniors, or we were just, like, off doing something.
Doing something else. Yeah, so Eva and I just put couch cushions in the bathtub and made a bed. And that was fun. Yeah, I remember because you came back in and you were like, oh, you fuckers, what did you do?
Yeah, because I was supposed to sleep on the couch, and there were no cushions on the couch anymore.
That wouldn't have been, it was a pull-out couch, it wasn't gonna be a problem. Like, you can still operate it as a pull-out couch. But yeah, we put cushions in the bathtub, and it was a very comfy setup, actually. Probably, as long as your foot didn't touch the faucet, you probably could have slept in there. Yeah. So yeah, that was fun.
And then we filmed a really weird...
a little short horror film
with Eva puppeteering. That was really funny.
Yes, that was very fun. Bookfest is good vibes.
Bookfest
good memories.
Is good vibes. I fell into the bog this year.
Oh yeah, you did! That was very funny.
That was very funny. It was especially bad because I had said to my grandmother that I wasn't going to get dirty, so I didn't need to bring an extra set of clothes. I doomed myself, I said that, and then I went, and on our last day, I fell into the bog.
That's what you get for having hubris, buddy.
Yeah, a true Greek tragedy moment. But yeah, I remember you weren't there when it happened. I think you were one of the first people who saw me upon my return, covered in mud.
It was great. It was a very funny time.
Yeah. I do remember on, like, a more sentimental, specifically our friendship moment, about, like, open communication, and I don't remember if it was one day where it was just the two of us, or if it was a day where it was, like, we had gotten, like, boba with someone else, and then those two people were taking, it was Shelby and a fourth person. Maybe also Eva?
Mariah?
Maybe Mariah. I don't remember. It was Shelby and someone else. I don't remember if it was that day or a different day, because we've done this several times. But they were, like, driving, and then the two of us just kind of walked back to your house and had a very serious heart-to-heart just between, like, hanging out with other people. There's, like, a little sandwich in the middle. It was just, like, a one-to-one heart-to-heart. And then other people.
I feel like that happened on a day where it was just the two of us, because I remember, I think I set that up, and then, though we did start from getting boba and then walked around my neighborhood, So, I'm reading
a long, meandering way. Yes.
It was a good
You
time.
showed me the park where you used to hang out.
Yep. A little neighborhood park that we have. Which is, I think, probably abandoned somewhat by now.
Yes.
But yeah. I still have seen people playing tennis there, because I guess that's the ultimate socially distant sport. You really can't get that close.
No, you're not allowed to.
Yeah, not allowed to. So yeah.
Tennis, the ultimate non-contact sport.
The ultimate non-contact sport. Yeah, and I guess on the subject of serious heart-to-hearts, did come out to you about 6 months ago now, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah, roughly. It was like, because January 14th was when I came out to myself, and then I think I came out to you in relatively short order.
That's true.
So yeah, I came out to myself at, like, roughly 3 to 5 a.m. on a Thursday morning during winter break, because I was up and was like, might as well figure this out now. Then I also was up anyway, so I was like, well, I might as well finish reading The Hobbit, too. So it was a productive morning. We were meant to go get, like, our learner's permits at the DMV, and that didn't end up happening either. But yeah, that's what happened then. And then that Saturday, went over to Eli's house to design my D&D character, and then I came out.
Yeah, I think there was a very funny story in there. Because it was your character, like, there was supposed to be a other character that had, like, a complicated relationship with Caroline's character. And Caroline did not specify the gender, and my brain was just like, oh, of course. Female.
Yep.
It's a woman.
Automatically just went gay.
Gay, yeah. Solon has big nature lesbian vibes. And, you know, I stand by that. But yeah, it was, you told me that, like afterwards, that had been, like, a very funny moment for you with the plan to come out, and I was like, oh yeah, of course your character is partially, if not completely, homosexual.
Yeah. 'Cause, like... it was funny because that character I had, like, expected, I didn't specify the gender, but I was, like, in my head, I was like, probably a dude. And then you were like, okay, so what's her name? And I was like, oh, shit!
Well,
you
made the mistake of underestimating me, a person who has never written a straight protagonist, ever. Yeah. It doesn't happen.
And here's the thing, like, so did you kind of make that assumption based off of, like, the general energy, or based off of, like, everything I've also written, because I also don't do straight people very often?
It was based off 3 things. Based off of how you write, based off of the character, and then also based off of just, like, generally the things in D&D that you talk about, or, like, the kind of, the people who you like to listen to with D&D. I was like, gay vibes. But it's also true that, like, I don't think that there's a single straight relationship in the D&D world. There's a bunch of characters who don't have love interests, and then the two couples that I've introduced, are both, 2 women. I have not explored all of those characters enough to be like, yes, definitely lesbian. Thea, I think, is bisexual, but she is in a relationship with another woman. And then the only other, like, hinted at relationship is a man and a non-binary person. So
yeah, and then there's my character's parents who are straight, but yeah. Like, the straight relationships very much take backseat. And the funny part of this is, this was, like, about, I think, maybe 20 minutes to an hour before I actually came out to you as lesbian. That would have been a great opportunity to do it, but no, I think one of your parents was in the other room, and I was like, I feel weird about this. So then I just told you as you were doing something else while we were watching a show on Netflix. Yeah,
we were watching The Dragon Prince. I was copying over your character sheet, and then while all this was happening, so I had, like, 3 different inputs at the same time, which is, probably how I best process information.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how Caroline came out to me, was in this, like, moment of me doing several other things.
Yeah, I was like, hey, I came out to myself as a lesbian this week, my lad. And they're like, alright, cool. And then we just kind of moved past it. And we're like, huh, isn't Soren a himbo?
He is.
He is. I agree.
Yeah.
God. So yeah, and then just general support through that, which has been nice.
Mm-hmm.
Because I figured it made sense to come out to you, one, because we're very close, and also, two, because we run Queer Media Club together, and I was like, I probably should tell the co-leader for the gay thing club that I'm gay. Probably should mention that I figured that shit out. So yeah.
The co-leader for the gay club thing, but who also is the co-leader for the gay celebration. I'm very entrenched in the queer community at PVA, which is, it started by me forgetting to come out, and now we're here.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it gets better,
just succeed.
Guys.
Yeah.
And by it gets better, I mean sometimes you get better at coming out.
Yeah, sometimes you get better at talking about things like a normal human being.
Yeah. I don't think I ever really got better at coming out. I think it was just a series of very weird conversations I had in groups, and then I told my parents individually. And that was a thing that we're probably going to talk about when we do the queer episode.
Yes. Maybe that'll be our season finale. We haven't picked out the season finale topic yet.
We haven't. Let's talk about gay shit.
Cool.
Cool.
I will update that now.
Yay! We have several Google Docs going for this podcast. 'Cause I'm a Virgo. Is how I'm gonna explain that. Like, a lot of occasionally if people are into astrology, the reason I give for why Eli and I are the way we are with each other is because I'm a Virgo and Eli is an Aries.
Yeah.
Make of that what you will. Yeah.
I looked up, like, the compatibility things.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you like me to go down the list?
Yes. Go for it.
We have a 10% sexual compatibility.
Great!
That's the first thing. I was like, that's not what I was talking about.
Priorities.
Yeah, it's pretty low. I think it's very funny because, like, the things that are highest is, trust and, shared activities, and then the things that are lowest are emotions and, sex. We're good at emotions. We never try, but I don't think it would work.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
It would be a weird time.
It would be a weird time. Especially given, like, I don't think it would be medically advised currently to do so.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
It says, okay, according to astrobix.com.
Okay.
Very strong friendship could be formed in time. And even more so if they understand and accept the disparities in their nature.
Okay, good. That's good. I think we've got that part down. I think we have the time part down. If 3 years isn't enough to do it, I don't know what the fuck is.
Well, maybe next year we're gonna be like, those people who only knew each other for 3 years had no idea what they were talking about. 4 years is how you cement a true friendship.
Our friendship's gonna go Super Saiyan. Senior year. I've achieved my final form.
We're like the Pokemon evolution, just like, we hit the level to evolve next year.
What's that one Pokemon that's like, it's technically multiple people, but all of them have, like, one brain, and it's not a very good brain, because that's us.
Talking about, like, Diglett and the ongoing Diglett evolutions?
Probably? I don't know. I think it's, like, magnets or something.
Oh. I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name. Yeah, because Diglett becomes Dugtrio, which is just three Diglets.
3 times the digging.
Yeah. Okay. Magnemite becomes Magneton? Is that what you're talking about? It's another,
Probably.
like, 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all
Magnemite
have, like,
is
one brain cell.
Yes. I mean...
Pretty much
we are an amiibo with 1 brain cell.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I'm thinking about some other... There are a bunch of small moments where it's like, it's hard to explain why this was such a funny friendship moment. I do remember, after we had both watched The Umbrella Academy, when we dragged Alice into a separate room to talk about The Umbrella Academy. Because it was like, no one else had watched it, and a bunch of people didn't want spoilers, and so the three of us just went into one of the side rooms and started, like, drawing stuff on the board.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I think one of my favorite moments from our friendship is when you just went, Alexander Hamilton is a twink-ass bitch, and I nearly had a stroke.
Another thing that happened in the back of Caroline's car.
Yep!
I don't even remember how we got there.
I think we were talking about, we needed to, like, talking about something we needed to pay money for, and I was, like, trying to remember if Hamilton was on the $10 bill, and then you, without looking up from what you were scrolling on your phone, just Alexander Hamilton's a twink-ass bitch, and I was like, huh? Like, you're not wrong? Like, you are correct in saying that? But also wasn't expecting it.
At my most, unfiltered, that's what came out. I think it's important to note here, I listened to the Hamilton soundtrack once. I didn't get into it, but that was the only impression I took away from the way it was acted. So, you know.
Yeah. I feel like all the founding fathers were twinks. Except George Washington. I feel like George Washington was a twunk.
I was watching.
A year later. Got my revenge.
I was watching a Drawfee episode. Do you know who Drawfee is?
Yes.
Okay, I was watching a Drawfee episode last night, and 3/4 of the people on it knew what a twunk was, and one person didn't, and there was like a whole segment where they were refusing to explain what twunk meant.
No one tell them what it means.
So that's what immediately came to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I ended up getting like a little recording of you saying it when you got sick and had a very deep voice, and I was like, this is exactly what this needs.
Yes. It was when I was sick and had a deep voice, but I was also drinking root beer from an unmarked brown bottle, just in a hallway at our school, which is the second time Piper told me that I looked like a homeless person. In that exact scenario.
Yeah, you do tend to do it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also the time where you were trying to explain, no, Dracula doesn't, trying to explain how the word Dracula is spelled, and like, Dracula doesn't have an eye, and I was like, no, he has 2 eyes, and then you hit me with your shirt. You chased me and you hit me with your shirt.
Was it a shirt? I imagine that it was like an overshirt.
Yes,
it was like the flannel,
or whatever, and like, it was tied around your waist, and you untied it and fucking whacked me with it.
Yeah. You deserved that for that joke.
He does have 2 eyes.
I agree. I don't know. I think yes, that's very funny. A lot of our interactions are just one of us saying something and then the other person either looking like they're going to contemplate murder or attempting something that isn't murder but is maybe assault.
Yeah. Just physically attacking other people.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, I think our dynamic really did just solidify when we wrote a script, this past year, like, as ourselves, like, writing ourselves as ourselves, because we didn't feel like making up new characters. We're like, fuck it, we're interesting.
We're 2 people that things can happen to.
Yeah, we're 2 people things can happen to, why not? And I looked over the script as we were reading it and kind of like, these versions of ourselves interacting, and I was like, wow, if you gave this script to someone who, like, did not know us, you would think that we hated each other. Like, that script does not make it look like we're fans of each other at all. Which is very funny.
It is very funny. I think that also happened right around the time that I sent you, or it happened at a similar time as I sent you that meme that was just like, it's a joke about, like, someone talking about my best friend. So it was like those 2 things existed simultaneously.
Yes.
I think another thing that makes Caroline and I a very unique friendship is that we probably curse the most, like, openly, out loud, just in general, of the creative writers at school. We are also, I think, the 2 least likely to get called out for cursing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I'm the nice one, so people don't, like, when people first meet me, I think they're generally surprised that I do curse. And this was the thing that, like, in middle school, like, people were like, I heard some people being like, no, I don't think she does. And for some reason I could tell it was about me, and so I just turned around and was like, I don't what? And they're like, do you cuss? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, like, the F word. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, who knew? And I was like, I did. I just didn't curse at
me personally.
School, like, while I was at school, so I was like, that's unprofessional. Cut to me now. Whoops.
Whoops.
Whoopsie doodle.
Hard 180.
Yeah, like, I've described myself like heart of gold, mouth of a sailor, is kind of what's going on there.
Yep.
So yeah, that's pretty much what's up with that. But yeah, we are like the least likely to get called out for cursing, but I think we are among the most foul-mouthed of creative writing, which is very funny to me.
Yeah, I think it was also that script that we wrote once, and then when we went back and edited, the only thing that we edited was we cut down on the curse words.
Yeah, because I think that's just the general problem is like, oh god, we have to present this to an audience, and,
we also had to film it in my house.
Yeah, and, like, yeah. So it was like, okay, between parents and, like, an audience seeing this, we gotta cut down on the swearing. Because it's like, oh, don't be gratuitous with, like, how many F-bombs you use in your writing. And I'm like, it's not gratuitous, that's how I talk.
It's true to life.
You may argue that it's, a little gratuitous in real life, but it would be inauthentic to not swear. To not swear completely and thoroughly through, like every other line of the script. Yeah, which is great.
Yeah. Yes, I think it's also, like, I had a similar thing where one of the scripts I presented last year, I went through and I counted, and I had a rate of, like, 1.5 curse words per page, in a not dialogue-heavy script, which was, you know, a fun experience.
Yep.
And that's why my parents have never read that script.
Yeah, I let my mom read one script from freshman year, that was, like, for Shadow Puppets, and it was about, like, occult murder, and, like, there was, like, a tense conversation about, like, between a mother and daughter that, like, evolved over the course to reveal said cult murder. And my mom read it and then got back to me and was like, so is this your way of telling me that I don't listen to you enough? And I was like, how the fuck did you get that? Like, the fucking reach! Like, no, Mom, I don't. I'll communicate to you if I feel like I will make it known if you don't listen to me enough. I don't need to code it in a very elaborate, several-page-long script for a school assignment. And she was also like, oh, but what if you get put on a watch list for having this material in your script? Like, what if you end up getting in trouble with the principal? I was like, that's not gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen.
You have not met the people at my school. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really funny. I remember that script is another script that... for me, no one could ever read, because it was just Valentina and I were like, okay, so we're going to essentially just make it Alice in Wonderland as told by stoners, and that was the whole thing that we did.
Oh, yeah.
And it was great. I loved it. I loved everyone in that was just not having a good time.
Shout out to Valentina. Hopefully she's
Valentina.
Yeah, hopefully she's listening to this. If not, oh well. But yeah. It's great. We're just two little very sweary little people. Or I guess you're not little, because another point that I find very funny was when I found out that you're taller than me, actually.
Caroline went at least the first year of our friendship, I think, not knowing that she was, in fact, not taller than me.
Not the first year. I think, like, the first semester at some point.
No, because I remember it happened during sophomore year, because it was... Yeah, because there was, like, a secondary reason why Mariah was so enraged by this fact.
Mariah or Shelby? I remember Shelby having a very strong reaction.
No, like, Mariah was enraged because Mariah thought she was taller than me, but she was not.
Oof.
But yeah, it happened our sophomore year. I remember it happened our sophomore year.
Okay, so, yeah, I am 5'3", Eli is 5'4", but they slouch.
I slouch a lot.
Yeah.
Another thing to get into during the queer episode.
Yes. I stand up relatively straight. I'm slouching right now because I'm currently sitting cross-legged on my closet trying to look at my computer. Which is, I guess, also something we can get into during the queer episode, but
Caroline's murdered me. I'm dead now.
I thought you were already dead before.
Well, I'm dead twice over.
You're a very pathetic vampire.
Yeah, I'm from Shadows Die Twice. I'm a shadow. I can die twice.
You can die twice. Oh no. Oh well.
Rip me part 2. Anyways, you were saying.
Anyway, yeah, so I am 5'3" and Eli is 5'4", but slouches a lot, and I was very salty about this fact, because I would like to be 5'4", and, like, I use all of my spine, and you don't. Like, I have very good posture, and I'm still shorter than you, and it pisses me off.
Yeah, I think it was, I don't even remember how it happened. I think that I was wearing, I was wearing something where, like, I had to stand up straight to make it fit properly. So I stood up straight for the first time in all of high school. And when I, like, straightened my shoulders, Shelby was the person who noticed, I think.
No, Shelby didn't notice until later in sophomore year because, she was, or at least did not know until then that, like, I was specifically shorter than you. Because she made you, like, she made us stand back to back because she did not believe it at first.
Yes.
She's like, no way! But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
No, but yeah, it was, I don't remember who noticed it, but I stood up straight, and we were, like, standing next to each other, and then someone's like, wait, Caroline is shorter than you?
I think I may have been the one who noticed, because I looked over and I was like, wait, I have to fucking look up? What the fuck is this?
Yeah, so
I've never had to do that before.
Neither of us are very tall people, but I'm slightly taller than Caroline.
Yeah.
We have that perfect dynamic of one person is exactly an inch taller, and it makes everyone mad all the time.
Yeah. Which is the thing that happened. I was an inch taller than my brother, who is a minute older than me, for some time, and it was very good because it felt like the universe had kind of balanced things out. Now my brother's a good, like, 6 inches taller than me, and he laughs about it a lot because he finds it very funny that I'm not tall. Which I don't quite get, but if it makes him happy.
I find your lack of height amusing.
Yeah.
That's not the quote, but...
No, it's not even close to the quote, but I appreciate you using it.
That's
one of the
2
few
words
quotes.
off.
Yeah, you know, relatively close.
Relatively close.
Yeah, it's not as far off as it could be.
No.
But yeah. I don't know, what else, what other things have we done in our friendship?
Well, I'm sure that later we're gonna be like, oh, we're gonna talk about...
Yeah. Yeah, I think just generally, like, Greek myth stuff is always fun to talk to you about. Because we were both, to some extent, Percy Jackson kids, which is, you know, fun.
I mean, I was big into Greek mythology beyond Percy Jackson.
Yeah. I think this was also a thing that I figured out or learned about you very early on in freshman year, so I was like, alright, cool. Also that, yep.
I mean, I don't know. Myths are fun. We have a myth episode also coming up, so we won't get too into it, but myths are fun.
Myths are fun.
Yeah. I don't know, I did have a realization. Well, I keep saying things that I'm like, I should save this, but I had a realization that I'm saying here so I can bring it up later about, like, why I'm so fascinated with the changeling mythology, and that has to do with queer stuff, so it will get brought up later, but I just want to put it out into the universe so I don't forget to say it.
Okay. So we've made that mental note. Everybody remind Eli through our podcast email, that's heynerdpodcast@gmail.com. They don't check it, but I will check it, and I will send it to them.
Yes, it will get texted or emailed to me to another email that I check slightly more regularly.
Yeah, or I'll just text you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because another thing about me and Eli is that, in both of the things that we have helmed that required emails, I am the person who manages nearly everything with email. I am a Virgo, Eli's an Aries.
I am chaotic neutral, and I don't make plans.
Yeah. I think, and this probably isn't something that I learned later on, but also Eli is, younger than me, which is very funny. Because I feel like, because you come in knowing a lot of stuff about very obscure topics, I think people tend to, like, try to use, like, oh, you're, like, you're more mature than your age, or, like, you're, you know, the oldest person in the room. And no, in fact, I am.
No. I am younger than most of our friend group.
Yup, your baby.
Yes. But Eva's younger than me, and Anise is also younger than me, and I hold on to that.
You're all children.
Yes. Yeah, I'm over 6 months younger. I'm just over 6 months younger than Caroline, actually.
So yeah, that's also just kind of a fun thing to know, about my friend. 'Cause, like, that technically means if you and I think are at a point where it's safe to say we have a very sibling-like friendship, then I am an older sibling for the first fucking time in my life, which is nice.
Yeah, you're an older sibling in that you're 6 months older than me, but not in the way that we're in the same grade at the same school, experiencing the same things. Which is very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think I'm very, I don't know. And you also have this vibe where we both come off as older than we are. Or, I have a very fun dynamic where I look younger than I am, so people who see me think that I'm younger, And people who talk to me think that I'm older, which I guess balances out to people assuming I'm the correct age, but is a very fun dynamic of, like, you look like you're 14, but you talk like you're 25. So what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah. Fun things about being advanced linguistically. Woo!
Woo!
Yeah. I think, there have been points in my life where people have, like, looked at my writing and be like, you didn't write this. And I'm like, but I did, though.
But I did.
Yeah. And people are like, oh, you didn't use this vocabulary. Oh, this is, like, too professional for, like, an 8-year-old to have written. It's like, I just know how to be polite in emails, Aunt Brenda. I don't know what to tell you.
I just got good at language.
Yeah. And that leads to fun things, because now when I write kids, I have no idea what's developmentally appropriate, because I was advanced in some things as a child and behind in other things as a child, because homeschooled stuff is fun. I was a year behind in math when I started normal school. Not because I was necessarily worse at math, I just didn't like doing it, so I never progressed on schedule. I was like, I don't want to fucking do math exercises, so I'm just, like, always a workbook behind what my grade level was.
Oh, that's so funny.
But I was, like, super ahead. So, like, by 6th grade, I think I was doing, like, 10th grade vocabulary. Because I really liked words and stuff. And so now I'm, like, trying to write this, set of stories about this kid, and I'm like, how do I write for an 8-year-old when I don't know realistically what an 8-year-old is able to achieve?
I mean, when I was in 3rd grade, did you ever have to take the Stanford test? Was that, like, a thing that you did yeah. Because, like, by the time I was in 3rd grade, I was post-high school across the board in Stanford, and so that means, like, I can't ever interact with a normal... what did I say, 8th grade? By the time I was 8 years old, by the time I was in 3rd grade, I was post-high school and all of the things. Which means that I can't interact with 3rd graders anymore, because it's like, I don't know, I'm not a person at this... I was like, I'm not a person, and...
Yeah. I think... No, we didn't take the Stanford test, but we took the Iowa test. And that, that put me, I think, like, again, below or on level for math, and then, like, 13th grade, like, college level for reading, in 5th grade. So, yeah, that was the thing.
It's wild.
Yeah, because my mom was like, oh, I should probably get an assessment of where you are academically by, like, some metric. So, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, we had to take those every year, and there was a boy in my class who, I'm not gonna go into detail about him, but he was very proud because he was post-12th grade in like 4 different small categories. And then we got our results back, and I never told him this, but I looked at mine, and I was like, haha. Because he was just kind of an asshole, and I was, like, very proud of myself to have been, like, above that.
You did better than the asshole. It's always a nice feeling when that happens. Yeah.
And then I think he grew up and became a kind of cool dude, so I can't... I won't. That's why I won't say his name or really go into detail about him, because he seems cooler now than he was then.
Well, shout out to that dude then. Good for you for character growth. Yeah, maybe we all improve upon who we were in middle school.
We were in elementary school.
Oh, that too.
Yeah. I mean, who we were... Maybe we always be improving on whoever we are now.
Yeah, this is true.
This is true.
That's a good hope to have, I think. So yeah. I don't know.
And hopefully we never backslide.
Hopefully. Yeah, because I think something that is nice now is, like, being able to be out to oneself is helpful, because then you don't have to do, like, the, like, second adolescence that a lot of queer adults do. When they, like, come out to themselves finally. So we're just having our secondary adolescence on top of our primary adolescence, which is nice.
All the adolescences.
All adolescence. Speaking of fucking up plurals.
Yeah. Circling back to that, yeah. Defining point of my character, I can't speak English well.
You can write English pretty well, though, which is, I think, the important part.
Yes. I sound very smart when I'm writing, and then when I'm speaking, I also sound smart, but sometimes my words just don't do good.
Yeah. I think, we both sound intelligent until suddenly we don't.
Yep. There's, like, a firm drop-off where the writers were just like, I don't know how to finish this phrase.
Yeah. And I think it's also really funny in terms of, like, how our friendship developed, because we have, like, we're similar people, but I think we have differing interests, because you're very much a STEM kid, And then I'm very much not. I'm a humanities kid, for life. So I think it's funny that, as well, that, like, we just have these two very differing strengths, in ways that kind of balance each other out, which is nice.
Yes, I think we are the embodiment of the STEM major, humanities major dynamic, or, like, STEM major arts major dynamic. Very similar, like, I think that we are kind of, like, the reflections of, like, the Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science reflections of the same person. Is probably the best way to describe our friendship.
Yeah.
Which is very cool. It's very cool to find someone who it's, like, we're very, like, on paper, do not seem very similar at all. In real life, very similar people.
Yes. Yeah, because it's, like, interesting to kind of run into that. As well because, like, you're in creative writing, which is, like, generally not thought of as a very STEM-heavy program. You know, we go kind of light on the biology and the whatnot.
Yes. I'm at the wrong high school, but
yeah.
I think any other high school, and I would be not a mentally healthy person.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, as well, even within writing, I think we have differing kind of interests. Not super differing, but, like, as we mentioned at the very start, I'm a much more narratively minded person, and then Eli has a little bit more of a strength in poetry and lyric and whatnot.
Yes, I think it's very funny because we always seem to, like, trade off. And I don't know how you feel about playwriting versus screenwriting, but I definitely think that, like, from what I've perceived of our dynamic, it seems like you lean more towards playwriting and fiction, and I lean more towards screenwriting and poetry. So together we cover all four bases.
Yeah. And it's that way in our friendship in a lot of things too. Like, you know, you have the ideas, and then I can help execute really well. And, like, in terms of this podcast, again, like, you were like, oh, we can just go into it and we can just vibe. And you had the idea, and you took the initiative, and I appreciate and love you for it. But, man, I knew that we couldn't just get through on no structure. I was like, we'll see how that goes. And then you're like, I think we need a structure for this. And I was like, do we? Do we really?
You think? You think, huh?
And then I made several more charts and another Google Doc with the table of contents.
We are a type A and a type B, and I think that's the firmest foundation of a friendship.
Yeah. And it's funny because I didn't realize how type A I was until, like, quarantine really hit, because I think now that I'm away from comparison culture, I don't have to be like, oh, well, compared to this person, I'm not doing this, this, and this. It's like, oh, I cannot see what I'm not doing or not being. I can only see what I am doing and what I am being. And that is very organized and very soothed by making charts and schedules.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think quarantine didn't teach me anything I didn't know about being a type B, but it definitely was like, hey, because I've been, like, scrolling, one thing that I learned as I was trying to find old things to go back and work on during quarantine, is that I definitely don't have an organization system, which is, you know, it works for my brain, but it also means that anyone else would be like, I hate this. Yeah. Not anyone else. Just everyone in my household and a lot of my friends would be like, I hate this.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of type A people.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like, again, I didn't consider myself type A because I always saw other people who were more type A than me, so I was like, oh, I'm just type A and, like, a type B body. Like, I aspire to be type A, but I'm not that. And it's like, oh, shit, I am, actually. Have been all along. My bad.
Secretly.
You
Scooby-Doo'd yourself.
I Scooby-Doo'd myself.
You pulled off the mask on the type A person, and it was just you.
Yeah, it was just me. So yeah, that's been a fun thing to realize and kind of lean into more. And yeah, and, like, we complement each other. I think it's fun because we complement each other in, like, a bunch of different ways. It's not just like, whatever one of us is lacking and the other one fills in real quick. It's like, oh, like, we come together and, like, we, you know, heighten each other and, like, build off of each other, as we mentioned earlier, which leads to very fun text exchanges.
Yes. It's
Tumblr.
Go ahead.
Tumblr text post friendship is what we've got, basically.
Yep.
Which is fun.
Yeah. I think it's also true that it's, like, and this is a super dumb thing I read in a book that I had to read in 6th grade, but it's, like, it's not that we have, like, a 1 + 1 = 2 friendship, where it's purely, like, we bring exactly what we are to the friendship, and then that's it. It's, like, the 1 + 1 = 3, where we are two individual people who are, like, whole and
Yeah.
But together there is something where it's like, there is an additional thing that happens where we are each individuals, and then there is like a collective that exists that is our friendship, which is very cool.
Yeah. And it's super neat.
There's gonna be weird tapping on my recording right now, because I'm sitting so I can tap the bottom of my feet.
That's valid. Yeah. Oh, another wholesome thing. We, in sophomore year, towards the end of the year, there's this thing called underclassmen awards at our school, and we were like, well, this is bullshit, because that makes a bunch of people feel bad, so what if we just, like, gave awards to each other, in creative writing, that were, like, personalized, so that no one feels left out or bad, and then you ended up randomly getting picked to present mine, and that was a really nice day.
Yes, that was very cool. I got very excited, when I was supposed to present yours, and then I forgot to write anything, so I kind of made something up on the spot. You gotta speak from the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think also with that, I don't know if I ever told you, but I don't remember exactly what your award was. I was one of the spearheads on that award, and I was very happy that, like, that was the award that was gotten for you. Because
Ride or die, but safety first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much Caroline and my friendship summed up.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's very sweet, and it's a cute little button. And I did not know that you made it up on the spot, but it was a very sweet speech, and I liked it a lot. So, yeah.
I mean, I'd been thinking about it all day, but it was not, like, planned.
Yeah.
So I was glad that things worked out.
Yes. It's good.
Yes.
So, yeah.
It was a good day. That was a fun day.
Yeah. I'm also remembering the time that, and I don't know how much we want to get into this, but basically, at one point we asked one of our creative writing teachers, so there are a bunch of people who are dating in the department. Who do you think it is? And then our teacher looked at us for, like, a really long time. I was like, yee! And we were just like, no.
Because she looked at us and she was like, I would think it was you two, but your dynamic's not right. And we both burst out laughing, because I was like, how could anyone think that this dynamic was anything, like, close to romance?
Our love language is bullying each other, apparently.
So yeah, that was very funny when she was like, maybe it's you two, and I was like,
nope.
No. Would not work.
No, I don't think it would. That would be...
No. That would be a weird thing to happen.
Yeah. I think it's fun, because I think this is, like, the first friendship I've had, like, as a person, Yeah. Like, I feel like I'm a lot more fully formed and coherent as a character right now.
Yes.
Than I have been in the past. So it's fun to, like, have this, I think, kind of dynamic going on with that. Because for a while I was like, this feels, like, way different than any other friendship I've had. And then I was like, oh, shit, this is just what being close with someone is like.
This is just what knowing, this is the terrifying ordeal of being known, is what it is.
Oh, god damn it. So yeah, that was a fun little thing to figure out. It was also in the midst of me being questioning, and I was like, wait, shit, is this? And it was like, no, it's not.
No.
No, decidedly not. We're close.
Certainly not that, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't take it seriously. I'm sorry, I need to not think about it anymore, else I'm just gonna be laughing for the rest of this podcast. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it wouldn't last long.
No, it would be weird. It would be weird because it's just not what our dynamic is at all.
I think it would be so weird.
Yeah. I think it would be weird for us, and it would be weird for everyone around us. Everyone would be like, I don't like this.
Yeah. It would just be like, why are we doing... I think we would just do things that we normally do, and be like, I guess this is dating?
I guess. Just like being friends.
Yeah, like, we've done, like, activities together. We just did, just, like, in a friend way, and I feel like we just keep doing that, except it's like, well, like, I guess this is not friend way, then.
It's completely platonic, just a different... Yeah. I think that if anyone... People know us, and especially people who don't know us, if you're wondering, yes, platonic friendships, very possible. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Platonic friendship... I guess all friendships outside of the context of romance.
Buddy.
I was going to say all friendships could be platonic, and then I was like, wait, no, you should be friends with people that you're dating. But...
Yeah.
Friendships outside of the context of romance.
Yes.
Are
it's
good
like that
and
trope
valid.
that's like, boys and girls can just be friends, and that can just be it. It's like, girls and non-binary people can just be friends, and that can just be it.
Yeah. I'm here to tell you that as a non-binary pansexual, friendship still important.
Mm-hmm. Still important. Still good.
Still important.
And
always
friendships
important.
can be strong friendships, and that doesn't mean that you have to date the person.
Yes. You can have good platonic relations.
Yes.
Yes.
Oof.
Oof. I feel like we said something very serious while trying not to laugh, so...
We said something very meaningful and important, but also...
But also...
Oh my god. I think I'd just get frustrated and be like, fuck this, no. Like, it would be like one date and then done.
It would just be weird.
It would just be weird.
It would just be weird. Oh, yeah. Oh, another really good thing that was funny is we went to see Knives Out together, and I didn't know that you'd seen it before until about 3/4 of the way into the movie when you were like, oh yeah, I've seen it before, and I was like, well...
Yeah, well, I didn't mind seeing it again. It's a good movie to rewatch.
Yeah.
And it's on Amazon, I believe, so...
Yes. I mean, I watched it with my parents, and I think it was on Amazon. Yeah. But it was very funny because Caroline was just sitting next to me being very cryptic the whole time as I was, like, making commentary, because we were about the only 2 people in that theater.
Yeah, I think there was, like, maybe 2 other people, and I don't think they minded. Which is another fun thing that we can do, is just, like, make fun of shit that's not each other as we watch something, which is fun. Yeah. Because we're both about the same brand of bastard humor.
We're also very much the type of people who start arguments, like, not yell at fictional characters in, like, the way that I think a lot of adults do, where it's like, but just, like, start passively making fun of people.
Yeah. Which is super fun. Or, like, just shipping characters that make no sense together. I still think that Marta and the college girl were together. It may just be me
being... The weed smoker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there were some moments where I was like, is this... No. So I'm not sure if I'm being lesbian and delusional or if there was genuinely, like, some queer baiting going on. But that was fun.
Yeah, I remember the plot of that movie, but there's that one scene that I think...
Like, they hug each other for a really long time, and there's also a part where she's, like, the weed smoker's, like, very much, like, holding her shoulders or something, being like, I'm so sorry, and, like, their faces are very close, and I was like, this is gay. But yeah, that was also just the movie that you saw because I was feeling sad and wanted to see a movie with friends, and you were like the person you picked up, which was nice. So yeah. And,
yeah. Did we get food after that, or did we just, like, go watch a movie and then... I think I came back to your house, actually.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah, probably.
That must have been what happened.
No, I think my dad picked us up and then drove you to your house, because I remember the conversation we had in the car.
Yes, that tracks.
But yeah, you have also been to my house and met my dog, who likes you, which is good, because she's pretty good at vibe checking, I've learned. Like, she's kind of an idiot, but she, like, knows which people are, like, chill. Because I've noticed, like, people that she barks at generally are kind of, like, assholes. So it's fun.
Yes.
Yeah, and you've played with her as well, which I think is just the main thing that she appreciates. Because you know how to play with dogs, and that is important when seeing another person's little dog.
Yeah, I know how to play with little dogs. I think it's also very funny, because it was upon interacting with Hildy that I realized that you and your family have trained Hildy and, like, done things, whereas Pepper and I play by me aggressively chasing him around the house, which is, you know, Pepper's favorite thing in the whole world.
Oh yeah, I also chase Hildy around the house to pick her up, which she hates. She's like, I don't like it, put me down. She's recently figured out that she can bite at me to try and get me not to pick her up, but then that just means I throw her a toy and wait until she's concentrated on the toy, because she will not drop that thing, no matter what. And then I pick her up, and then she drops the toy, and just looks very alarmed.
Looks defeated.
Yeah, she's like, oh god damn it, my toy.
Speaking of Pepper, I can hear him again.
Oh my goodness. Puppy dog. I haven't interacted, I think, with Pepper as much as you've interacted with Hildy, but I love him very much.
No, you haven't been inside my house very much, I don't think. But Pepper loves people. And we're going to allow him in briefly because we're talking about dogs. So 1 second.
Alright. Here he comes. Here comes that boy.
Pepper. He lied. He was not right outside. So we're going to leave the door open and see if he wants to come join me.
Okay. Oh, good boy.
Pepper! There we go.
There he is! Oh, what a cute boy! What a good boy!
The lad himself.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Do you remember my friend Caroline Pepper?
Hey, Bubba. Hello. Can he perceive TV screens? My dog can't.
No, not really. He can occasionally, like, if you're not on speaker, if we're Skype calling my dad, he will occasionally, like, figure out that it's my dad by listening.
Mm-hmm.
But he cannot perceive screens.
Okay.
Or he can't perceive computer screens. He can perceive TV screens, because he can see things that are happening on the TV.
Oh. He said, no thank you.
He said, okay, this is good. Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye. Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually been inside your room.
No.
Which is interesting. From what I can tell, it makes sense as to why. Because you did send me that one picture, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I haven't changed the room in a long time. I think I've seen your room. I don't think I've ever been inside your room.
I think you've been inside it once.
Yeah, I was either briefly inside or I stood outside while we were, like, trying to figure something out, but I've only been upstairs in your house once, also. Indeed.
How little of each other we truly know.
Yes. How well can you know someone without having seen their room? Wait, no.
Wait. We're getting back to the thing we were talking about earlier. Shit!
Accidentally looping back.
Oh no. Okay, there's another thing. Again, brain empty, no thought. Oh yeah! Another thing that was really fun was kind of end of last year, and I guess beginning of this year, was when, because your dad works very close to my home, we could walk from the train station together after school, and that led to a lot of fun conversations.
Yes, that was very fun. That was, yeah, a lot of cool conversations. A whole screenplay thing was plotted out on the train. Yep.
That was fun.
Yes.
Yeah, we tend to, like, come together and then come away from conversations with ideas for big projects. A lot of which haven't been really finished, but they've been started, so...
Yes. One day they will be finished.
One day. So yeah, and it's fun. You were also the person that I send shit to when I'm writing it, and I was like, this is funny. Yeah, namely with Edgar Allan and Josh, which I haven't picked back up in a while, but I might soon.
Very good.
Because it was just like, what if there was this trio of goth kids, and their names weren't Edgar Allan and Poe, but they were Edgar Allan and Josh, and then a whole, like, cast of characters quickly spiraled out of that as I played Minecraft at, like, 10 p.m., and waited for my phone text notifications to go off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That joke also eventually incorporated a Drake and Josh joke, which I was very proud of.
Yes, it was a very good joke. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was very funny. I think that, yeah, I think that I haven't exactly taken as much away from those just because my brain doesn't latch on to things as easily, but as mentioned, I have written something based off a conversation we had. And it's just fun to have those conversations. It's a nice mental exercise.
Yeah. It is really fun, just kind of like, again, it's an exercise, I think, in heightening and just seeing how far you can take a joke or a concept. And yeah, and a lot of the stuff that, like, I'll send, because here's the thing, I don't have social media, so I treat Eli like my own personal Twitter feed. Like, Eli, I just want you to know that the shit that I send you probably would go on my Twitter if I had one. But instead it goes to you. Which probably
and sometimes it goes to my Twitter.
Yeah, and sometimes it goes to your Twitter. That's stuff I typically say out loud, and not stuff I text. But it's just, like, random dialogue ideas that happen from the peanut gallery in my brain will just, like, occasionally make their way over to Eli, and Eli will be like, yes, funny.
Good fun, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Brain reset. That is very fun. That is something that I was talking to Miss Swinnick about, which is, like, a whole weird other thing, because I was talking to her about poetry, but I was like, yeah, this is a thing that Caroline and I do, where we just, like, throw something out into the universe, and the other person has to, like, add something or heighten it, and it's a good, like, world-building, story-building exercise, and she was like, oh, I might use that with the freshmen, so maybe the freshmen next year are gonna do exercise based off of the dumb things that we send back and forth to each other.
Fuck yes!
Because I was like, because I was explaining to her that essentially the reason that I like it so much is because it's essentially improv, but it's kind of a little bit lower stakes improv.
Yeah, because you can text and, like, write shit and delete shit, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's lower stakes improv, and it's also improv because you're not acting, because you're just like, here's a thought.
Yeah. Like,
I speak it.
Yeah, it exists kind of in the third person, in this kind of ephemeral space. Another thing about me and Eli's texting dynamic is I believe you permanently have your phone on Do Not Disturb, and then for you, my text notification for you has been since sophomore year, the Metal Gear Solid surprise noise. So now when it's used in videos, like, as a joke, like, in YouTube videos that I watch, there's, like, a part of my brain's like, shit, I have a text from Eli now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, the only thing is that, I don't have pictures of people on my phone, because, I don't know, I decided that I wasn't gonna do that, so your image in my phone, I don't know if you know that, is just the Star Kid logo. Like, I don't know if I ever told you that, but your contact image in my phone is a Star Kid logo, and so I associate that immediately with you now.
That's so great.
Yeah, I've always kind of associated with you, but now especially anytime I see Star Kid, I'm like, oh yeah, that's Caroline.
That's what my face looks like in your phone.
Yeah, that's the vibes.
I think the contact photo I have for you is you doing the Spider-Man pose in your red flannel.
In this red
in the very red flannel that none of our audience can see, yes.
Yes, in one of my several flannels. It's not one of my iconic flannels, it's just a flannel I own.
Well, it's a flannel that's definitely very distinctive. Like, I notice when you wear it, because it's more color than you typically wear.
Yes, it's aggressively red.
Mm-hmm. Spider-Man red.
Spider-Man red.
And there's also a picture I have of you on my phone where you look completely like JD from Heathers. And, like, the people we were with all noticed this and pointed it out, and you were like, I've never seen Heathers, what the fuck are you talking about? Because, for those who do know, for Shelby, when you get back, here, Shelby knows this because Shelby was there, but for, like, Shelby and other people who know
we were filming at Shelby's house.
Eli was leaning against a wall, wearing a dark leather jacket, and drinking a slushie, which is, like, literally his entire character design. And this was also back when they had shorter hair, so it was, like, all of these things just kind of combined. It was like, you're JD with glasses, literally, and you're like, huh?
Huh? What?
Yeah. This was also for the same project where you ended up, I think, tackling me and also grappling me. Because reasons. Like,
yeah, it was the same project where we were wrestling on the floor.
Uh-huh.
Fun times.
Fun times.
And the same project where also, I was supposed to drink just, like, a whole bunch of tea, but we didn't actually make tea.
Uh-huh.
We just put a tea bag in cold water.
Yep. And we all lost our shit.
Yeah. Because instead of admitting that it was bad and stopping, I chugged it and then went to the bathroom and spit up that water. Which led to the, quote, drinking cold tea water is never fun, especially when it's never been hot tea water.
Yep. So yeah, that did kind of realize, like, after our, not first D&D session, but our first fight in D&D, a while later I had the realization that is the second time that you have, directly or indirectly, had me in a grappled position. Because our characters were fighting, and so, for the first time, like, back summer between sophomore and junior year, like, you had me grappled, and then for a fight, I was grappled, and Eli is the DM, so Eli plays the person who was grappling me. And I was like, huh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we end up in a senior show together, we're gonna just cut the stage combat and go straight for actual hand-to-hand.
Yeah. Caroline and I have agreed that if we ever need to do stage combat, but it's between our characters, we're just going to actually fight each other.
Yeah. Or just, like, if we are just in a show together, at some point, there doesn't need to be a character reason for it. We can just fight.
Yes. Caroline and I are determined to do battle, and I don't really know if anyone wins or loses in this scenario, but maybe everyone who gets to watch us.
I mean, I've joked before that you're exactly the kind of person to be like, I learned jujitsu at Duke Tip, and I would just believe that. But also, like, as mentioned, the entire conceit of this podcast is that we're nerds, and just kind of, we're not very tough. No.
I have on my side the good Texas farmer blood, which isn't tough, but is just, like,
spiteful.
Pure adrenaline, no thought.
Yeah, spiteful.
Yeah.
Like, we'll stay alive just to piss me off. Not that you being alive would piss me off at any point. We'll
stay alive just to piss someone off.
Yeah, you would stay alive just to piss someone off. And then I just, like, have, years of roughhousing with my brother. You know?
Yep.
I used to have pretty killer triceps because I did gymnastics, but I think those are gone now. And I know this because when we did PE, I learned that doing back bends is the exercise that strengthens your triceps. Because when we did PE, back when that was still a thing, in 8th grade, there was a tricep working out machine, and I did better than a lot of the boys because I did bridges so often, so I could support my own body weight fully with my arms. And that was a fun thing to discover, that I used to have very strong, very specific part of my arm. Maybe that will help me.
Nice.
I think
I think maybe I'm definitely, or I used to be one of the best runners in creative writing because I used to have to run a mile like every day in PE. And so I have a very funny memory of sprinting across Herman Park with Piper, who's significantly taller than me, trying to catch up. And me outrunning her because I was just a better runner, which was very funny.
Yes.
So I used to have very good leg muscles. I don't think I have them anymore, but I'm thinking about getting back into running, so maybe I will have them again one day.
Yeah, I'm trying to exercise a little bit more, so who knows? Maybe we will be evenly matched combatants by whenever this rolls around.
Yes.
I think also, at some point, did we agree on bow staffs as the weapons we're using?
Yeah, we did agree on bow staffs.
Because neither of us are experienced with those.
Yes.
Neither of us.
Because we can't do swords because I know swords.
Because apparently you did fencing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused as to why you did fencing. Then I remembered what elementary school you went to, and I was like, oh, that is the elementary school that would do fencing.
It's all the rich people, man.
Yep. I can't imagine why anyone would be like, I want my 8-year-old to have a sword and just have that be a thing. I want my child.
Because they wanted their kids to go to the Olympics one day.
Oh, Christ.
That's the kind of person I went to elementary school. Was when people were like, I want to grow up and be in the Olympics. And I was like, I just kind of want to get through high school. Like, that's about as far forward as I'm thinking, man.
That's pretty far forward for elementary school.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It was like, have a big dream or your dream is going to college. And I was like, well, I guess my dream is going to college because I don't really care. So yeah. And now here we are. It got me this far.
Just, like, the idea of someone being like, what should my 6-year-old, with, like, still developing fine motor skills and not great senses of social boundaries yet, do after school? Swords.
Yeah.
Swords should be the plan for the small child. Like,
metal swords.
My brother fucking terrorized the neighborhood with sticks, like wooden sticks from the ground, like straight up, and it was awful. It was an awful period of my life. I did learn how to do a little bit of stick fighting, so I may have a little bit of an advantage with bow staffs, but it was just like him and the neighborhood boys would just get sticks off the ground and hit each other and me with them. And that was bad enough. Why the fuck would you introduce sharp and metal to that equation?
Well, fencing rapiers aren't sharp. They're not like actual rapiers. They're just like long sticks of metal that you smack each other with. You're not supposed to smack each other.
But they would. Because they're 7.
Yeah.
If you have siblings and you have a sword in your house, you're using that on the sibling.
Well, if you have a dad and you have a sword in your house, I'd smack my dad with the fencing rapier. But that's because my dad also... Okay, I guess this will be the final story, but, on things that we did in middle school, my dad has, like, actual swords. Like, he has katanas and, like, real cavalier swords and stuff, because why wouldn't he?
Your dad's an astrophysicist who wants to be a medievalist.
Yes, he wants to be in the same age as Galileo Galilei, and I love that for him. But it was very funny because he has, like, a katana, and so in middle school I did this, like, we were doing this, like, comedy project in media class, I guess, and my friend and I did, like, video games in real life, kind of like parroting Smosh videos, and so I got his katana, and my friend threw fruit at me for Fruit Ninja in real life, which, like, as the Ryan Higa video will tell you, doesn't end well. I didn't hurt myself, but I did fully sever a banana in half, which is, like, the high point of that video, is that I, like, sliced down and a banana just broke in two, and I was like, I am a god.
You are the Banana King.
I am the Banana King. I am the Banana Man.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have my banana shirt, so I can truly be the Banana Man.
Yes. I think that's very fun. That should be the high point of your life, quite frankly. It's just, like, just getting a fruit into is very good.
Yeah, just...
That is very interesting. You just say stuff about your dad, and I just honestly just kind of have to believe it at this point.
This is fair. I feel like I could say anything, and you couldn't disprove it.
I mean, no, like, I can't. Like, I haven't even been inside your room. I really have no clue what the fuck is up with your dad.
Yeah, it's very funny because it's also gotten to the point where other people just start, like, making up stories about my dad, and I'm like, yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, like, a bunch of our friends collectively decided my dad is a Mormon, which is not true, but was funny.
Yeah. And then we had to explain to someone that Mormon is, in fact, a sect of Christianity.
Yes,
that's the denomination.
That was also funny.
Oh, which was very good. But yeah. I don't know. We've had a long friendship. Hopefully we have a longer one. At least for a few seasons of the podcast. In case you missed it at the beginning when we did the little description intro, we've agreed, I've decided, Eli has agreed, that we will have 12 episode seasons, just so we have a little bit of a break as whatever the hell school starts. Yeah. Like how that works. Just so we have a little bit of a break. So season finale, episode 12 is coming up soon. So, set your calendars for that. We're gonna be gone for an amount of time.
Yeah, I would say probably because of how episodes work, it'll seem like we're gone for 3 weeks. We'll probably actually only be off for maybe about 2 weeks. But that's just because we have to start, like, pre-production a week early, and so to give us, like, a 2-week break, we're gonna probably go off posting for 3 weeks.
So who knows? Hopefully this will just be, because it looks like quarantine's gonna last for a while longer. So hopefully this at least lasts us through quarantine. Who knows? Maybe beyond that. Maybe after a very long hiatus we'll be like, and guess what? We've graduated college and now we're back.
Yes.
This is what gets us through grad school.
Yeah, I think that we're probably, I will say, probably just to tell people, I would like to continue doing this throughout the school year. There may be some adjustments to episode length or episode consistency just because of that. I don't think we're going to completely stop at any point, but it may be like, I'm the editor and I'm taking 4 AP classes, Caroline's the producer, Caroline's taking 3 AP classes, we're have very busy lives.
Yeah, and we have just stuff on top of that that's also going on. I have, like, 3 additional responsibilities. So, yeah. We're gonna be busy, and we're gonna be taking time for ourselves. So yeah, we'll see how it all goes. So yeah, if we won't fall off the face of the earth. Most of the people who listen to this podcast know how to reach us.
Yes.
But yeah. So yeah, that's coming up. Get hype. And if you are one of our friends, you know who you are. And you can email us at heynerdpodcast@gmail.com for a very professional response from our management. Which is definitely not just me writing like a lawyer. And you can ask for a guest spot on an episode and just let us know what you want to talk about and when, and we'll do that. So yeah, we have a really fun event coming up for these next few weeks. And yeah. So let me I guess that's kind of our episode wrap up. We've been friends for a while. Doesn't look like that's gonna end anytime soon. We have a lot of funny stories. Possibly incriminating stories, maybe. I
think you give us maybe a little too much credit, but...
Yeah, well, stuff that maybe we shouldn't mention on things that, like, could conceivably be found by our parents.
This is true.
But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We have a good friendship, and we're making a podcast because of it. This podcast wouldn't be a thing if we weren't friends.
This is true.
Yeah.
My voice did something disgusting. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to read the outro, or should I?
I think it's my job because it's an even number episode. So, thanks to sawsquarenoise on the Free Music Archive for the use of their song, Towel Defense Ending, potential sponsors, our email, like I just said, heynerdpodcast@gmail.com, Blue Apron, HelloFresh, NordVPN, ExpressVPN, Casper Mattresses, Brooklinen, any and all.
Big businesses, small businesses, local businesses. We'll take it.
All businesses, especially Black or trans-owned businesses, hit us up. Not sure how many customers we can funnel your way, but we'll funnel them nonetheless.
Yep.
And we do not ask for a lot of money. I just want an extra source of revenue because I want a job. And this is an easy way to do that. Listeners, rate and review us on iTunes, because that's a thing that people do, and that gets our podcast out into the world a little bit more than beyond our own little friend circle. And we want to get our podcast into your friend circle. So tell your friends about us. Like, people that we don't know, but that you know. Like, people you know from church, or from synagogue, or from mosque, or, like...
just people you meet that you know that are friends with.
You know,
that you are friends with.
People who follow you on Instagram, even though you've never met them before in your life. Just tell them about the podcast. Send them our way. Just give us listeners. And check back next Wednesday at around 1 p.m.-ish for our next episode, which is gonna be... I'll say the episode hint is this. It's the other popular fantasy series about children who are split up according to supernatural ability that wasn't written by a transphobe. So get hype!
Woo!
Woo! So yeah. Alright, ready to close this out for good?
Yep.
Alright, 3, 2,
1.
Bye, nerd.
Bye, nerd.
Alright.
I knew.
Yeah.
Alright, ending now.